Page 26. Gilgamesh successfully makes his way through the 12 leagues of darkness. When he comes out on the other side of Mashu, he is greeted with an astounding sight. There was the garden of the gods. All round him stood bushes bearing gems. Seeing it, he went down at once, for there was the fruit of carnelian with the vine hanging from it, beautiful to look at. Lapis lazuli leaves hung thick with fruit, sweet to see. For thorns and thistles there were hematite and rare stones, agate and pearls from out of the edge of the sea. While Gilgamesh walked in the garden, by the edge of the sea, Shamash saw him, and saw that he was dressed in the skins of animals and ate their flesh. He was distressed, and he spoke and said, "No mortal man has gone this way before, nor will, as long as the winds drive over the sea." And to Gilgamesh he said, "You will never find the life for which you are searching." Gilgamesh said to the glorious Shamash, "Now that I have toiled and strayed so far over the wilderness, am I to sleep and let the earth cover my head forever? Let my eyes see the sun until they are dazzled with looking. Although I am no better than a dead man, still let me see the light of the sun. Beside the sea she lives, the woman of the vine, the maker of wine. Siduri sits in the garden at the edge of the sea, with the golden bowl and the golden vats that the gods gave her. She is covered with a veil, and where she sits she sees Gilgamesh coming towards her, wearing skins, the flesh of the gods in his body, but despair in his heart, and his face like the face of one who has made a long journey. She looked, and as she scanned the distance, she said in her own heart, "Surely this is some felon. Where is he going now?" And she barred her gate against him with the crossbar and shot home to the bolt. But Gilgamesh, hearing the sound of the bolt, threw up his head and lodged his foot in the gate. He called to her, "Young woman, maker of wine, why do you bolt your door? What do you see that made you bar your gate? I will break in your door and bust in your gate, for I am Gilgamesh, who seized and killed the bull of heaven. I killed the watchman of the cedar forest. I overthrew Humbaba, who lives in the forest, and I killed the lions in the passes of the mountain." Then Siduri said to him, "If you are that Gilgamesh who seized and killed the bull of heaven, who killed the watchman of the cedar forest, who overthrew Humbaba that lives in the forest, and killed the lions in the passes of the mountains, why are your cheeks so starved, and why is your face so drawn? Why is despair in your heart and your face like the face of one who has made a long journey? Yes, why is your face burned from heat and cold? And why do you come here, wandering over the pastures in search of the wind?" Gilgamesh answered her, "And why should not my cheeks be starved and my face drawn? Despair is in my heart, and my face is the face of one who has made a long journey. It was burned with heat and cold. Why should I not wander over the pastures in search of the wind? My friend, my younger brother, he who hunted the wild ass of the wilderness and the panther of the plains, my friend, my younger brother, who seized and killed the bull of heaven and overthrew Humbaba in the cedar forest, my friend who was very dear to me and who endured dangers beside me, Enkidu, my brother, whom I loved, the end of mortality has overtaken him. I wept for him for 7 days and nights, till worm fasted on him. Because of my brother, I am afraid of death. Because of my brother, I stray through the wilderness and cannot rest. But now, young woman, maker of wine, since I have seen your face, do not let me see the face of death, which I dread so much." She answered, "Gilgamesh, where are you hurrying to? You will never find that life for which you are looking. When the gods created man, they allotted to him death, but life they retained in their own keeping. As for you, Gilgamesh, fill your belly with good things, day and night and day. Dance and be merry, feast and rejoice. Let your clothes be fresh. Bathe yourself in water. Cherish the little child that holds your hand, and make your wife happy in your embrace. For this, too, is the lot of man." But Gilgamesh said to Siduri, the young woman, "How can I be silent? How can I rest when Enkidu, who I love, is dust, and I too shall die and be laid in the earth? You live by the seashore and look into the heart of it. Young woman, tell me now, which is the way to Utnapishtim, the son of Tutu? What directions are there for the passage? Give me, oh, give me directions. I will cross the ocean if it is possible. If it is not, I will wander still farther in the wilderness. Siduri sends Gilgamesh into the woods to find Urshannabi, the ferryman, who is building a boat. In anger and ignorance, Gilgamesh smashes some sacred stones that Urshannabi is fashioning into a prow to protect his boat. Gilgamesh then builds another boat, and Urshannabi guides him across the ocean and over the waters of death. So Urshannabi, the ferryman, brought Gilgamesh to Utnapishtim, whom they call the Faraway, who lives in Dilmun at the place of the sun's transit eastward of the mountain. To him alone of men the gods had given everlasting life. Now Utnapishtim, where he lay at ease, looked into the distance and said in his heart, musing to himself, "Why does the boat sail here without tackle and mast? Why are the sacred stones destroyed, and why does the master not sail the boat? The man who comes is none of mine. Where I look, I can see a man whose body is covered with skins of beasts. Who is this who walks up the shore behind Urshannabi? For surely he is no man of mine." So Utnapishtim looked at him and said, "What is your name, you who come here wearing the skins of beasts, with your cheeks starved and your face drawn? Where are you hurrying to now? For what reason have you made this great journey, crossing the seas whose passage is difficult? Tell me the reason for your coming." He replied, "Gilgamesh is my name. I am from Uruk, from the house of Anu." Then Utnapishtim said to him, "If you are Gilgamesh, why are your cheeks so starved and your face drawn? Why is despair in your heart and your face like the face burned with heat and cold? Why do you come here, wandering over the wilderness in search of the wind?" Gilgamesh explains his quest and asks Utnapishtim for the secret of eternal life. The old man's reply is not what Gilgamesh expects. Utnapishtim says, "There is no permanence. Do we build a house to stand forever? Do we seal a contract to hold for all time? Do brothers divide an inheritance to keep forever? Does the flood time of rivers endure? It is only the nymph of the dragonfly who sheds her larva and sees the sun in his glory. From the days of old there is no permanence. The sleeping and the dead, how alike they are! They are like a painted death. What is there between the master and the servant when both have fulfilled their doom? When the Anunnaki, the judges, come together, and the Mam-Etum, the mother of destinies, together they decree the fates of men. Life and death they allot, but the day of death they do not disclose." Then Gilgamesh said to Utnapishtim the Faraway, "I look at you now, Utnapishtim, and your appearance is no different from mine. There is nothing strange in your features. I thought you should be like a hero prepared for battle, but you lie here taking your ease on your back. Tell me truly, how was it that you came to enter the company of the gods and to possess everlasting life?" Utnapishtim said to Gilgamesh, "I will reveal to you a mystery. I will tell you a secret of the gods." The story of the flood. You know the city Shuruppak? It stands on the bank of the Euphrates. That city grew old, and the gods that were in it were old. There was Anu, lord of the firmament, their father, and a warrior, Enlil, and their counselor, Ninurta, the helper, and Inugi, watcher over canals. And with them also was Ea. In those days the world teemed, the people multiplied, the world bellowed like a wild bull, and the great god was aroused by the clamor. Enlil heard the clamor, and he said to the gods in council, The uproar of mankind is intolerable, and sleep is no longer possible by reason of the babel. So the gods agreed to exterminate mankind. Enlil did this, but Ea, because of his oath, warned me in a dream. He whispered their words to my house of reeds. Reed house, reed house! Wall, O wall! Hearken, reed house wall! Reflect, O man of Shuruppak, son of Ubara Tutu! Tear your house down and build a boat. Abandon possessions and look for life. Despise worldly goods and save your soul alive. Tear down your house, I say, and build a boat. There are the measurements of the bark as you shall build her. Let her beam equal her length. Let her deck be roofed like the vault that covers the abyss. Then take up into the boat the seed of all living creatures. When I had understood, I said to my Lord, Behold, what you have commanded I will honor and perform. But how shall I answer the people, the city, the elders? Then Ea opened his mouth and said to me, his servant, Tell them this. I have learned that Enlil is wrathful against me. I dare no longer walk in his land, nor live in his city. I will go down to the gulf to dwell with Ea my lord. But on you he will rain down abundance, rare fish, and shy wildfowl, a rich harvest tide. In the evening the rider of the storm will bring you wheat in torrents. In the first light of dawn all my household gathered round me. The children brought pitch, and the men whatever was necessary. On the 5th day I laid the keels and the ribs, then made fast the planking. The ground space was 1 acre. Each side of the deck measured 120 cubits, making a square. I built 6 decks below, 7 in all, and I divided them into 9 sections with bulkheads between. I drove in wedges where needed. I saw to the punt holes and laid in supplies. The carriers brought oil in baskets. I poured pitch into the furnace, and asphalt and oil. More oil was consumed in caulking, and more again the master of the boat took into his stores. I slaughtered bullocks for the people, and every day I killed sheep. I gave the shipwrights wine to drink, as though it were a river water, raw wine and red wine, and oil and white wine. There was feasting then, as there is at the time of the New Year's festival. I myself anointed my head. On the 7th day the boat was complete. Then was the launching of full difficulty. There was the shifting of ballast above and below, till 2/3 was submerged. I loaded into her all that I had of gold and living things, my family, my kin, the beasts of the field, both wild and tame, and all the craftsmen. I sent them on board, for that time that Shamash had ordained was already fulfilled when he said, In the evening, when the rider of the storm sends down the destroying rain, enter the boat and batten her down. The time was fulfilled, the evening came, the rider of the storm sent down the rain. I looked out at the weather, and it was so terrible, so I too boarded the boat and battened her down. All was now complete, the battening and the caulking. So I handed the tiller to Pazur Amuri, the steersman, with the navigation and the care of the whole boat.